Hey y'all, okay, I'm here to talk to you about pressed shadows, eye primer, and some of the eye brushes, okay? And this is a product knowledge video, by the way, and so it's really here as a tool for you to learn how to use some of these products. But let me just start out by saying you do not have to be a makeup artist to be a successful, unique presenter. Honestly, most of the people at the top aren't even good at makeup. Just being honest. You don't have to be, you really don't. You just have to have kind of a love for people, changing lives, and also for helping others find things that they love, find products that they love, okay? So I'm gonna teach you kind of how to do that with eyeshadow. Now, I think there's a reason why they decided that I should do this video out of all the other product knowledge videos that we're doing. And that's because I have a love for eyeshadow that has gone back to my early days. Like when I was a preteen, I loved eyeshadow. I don't know why. I don't know where I got it from. My mom hardly wore any makeup at all. She actually wears more makeup now than she did when I was a girl. So I have no idea where I got it from. It's just like in my genealogy or something from a different, whatever. I don't know where it came from. But I always have loved eyeshadow. So I didn't come into Unique not knowing about eyeshadow and never have, used it. I had used eyeshadow for a long time and loved eyeshadows, okay? So I just want to start that out like that so you know why I have a lot more knowledge in it. But I want you to also know that you don't need to duplicate me specifically. I want you to remember that this whole journey for you, for your business with Unique, is about creating your own brand and being true to yourself, okay? So if you have never been an eyeshadow expert, you don't absolutely love eyeshadow, maybe you love eyeshadow, but you just never have learned how to use it right, share that journey with your following because they're going to want to learn with you. And more than likely, a lot of them already know that you're not an eyeshadow expert or that you don't love eyeshadow or whatever. They already probably know that about you. So you actually want to share that journey learning about eyeshadow with them. And that's what's going to make people believe you and want to do this with you, want to watch you and try it themselves, okay? So remember that as we learn about eyeshadow, and I try to give you a lot of the knowledge that I have about it. Now, I want you to remember to keep it really simple for you as well, because doing really glam eyeshadow looks, first of all, hardly anyone on a day-to-day basis, the people that we're reaching, is doing that, okay? It's a very small portion of people that really want to look like these, beauty influencers or Kylie Jenner type makeup. It's very few, okay? And some people do because it's trendy, but most people just want a good, easy routine that makes them feel beautiful and confident every day. And eyeshadow can make somebody feel so beautiful and like really bring out their eye color and make their eyes look more bold and really bring out that natural beauty. So eyeshadow is really awesome and important if they want to learn how to use it. So it's your chance to learn with your audience and teach them about it. And that's really where I'm going to start with the whole what impact or results should you get from these live videos should your audience get is if you're doing an eyeshadow live video, you want to make sure that the takeaway is, hey, this is how to make your eyes look more bold, how to bring out your eyes, how to really bring out your eye color. Okay, those are the things you want your audience to take away. Because that's what eyeshadow is for. It's not to make your eyes look darker or for you to look more tired or, or for you to look like an artist. Like, no, it's to help bring out your eye color, bring out your eye shape. And that is what it's for. Okay, enough of me blabbering on about that. Hoping that I can cover everything they wanted me to cover today. Now, there are tons of different ways to put on eyeshadow, and I'm going to go over a couple things. But lots of different ways, okay? And there's all different names for them, the halo eye and the cut crease, like all these fancy things. Do not go out and learn that stuff unless you just absolutely want to and you think it's fun and you think your audience would have fun learning about it. Then you could, of course, go do it. But it's not something that's essential for you. Do not let that limit your business because you haven't had time to go learn what all these eyeshadow techniques are. I am not going to cover those things today. I am not going to tell you that is what you should do at all. All I want you to be able to do is to literally put on your own eyeshadow and bring out your own eye color, because that's how you're gonna help your following. Excuse me. So keeping it clean, simple, and well blended. I can't tell you how many times I've watched people post pictures of their eyeshadow and I'm like, oh my God, she needs to blend that so badly, because I say that, to myself, because I know her audience is probably looking at it like, okay, that doesn't look good. I don't want to look like that. And so if it's not well blended, it's not going to look like it should. It's not going to look seamless and not going to look like it's really bringing out your eye and making you look better. Okay. So go for clean, simple, and well blended. And that really is where the brushes are going to come in, and the eye primer that we're going to go over. So it really is all in the blending. And I want you to remember that right now, it's all in the blending. Okay. All in the blending. All right, so I got my notes here just so I cover everything they wanted me to cover. But why do we use the eye primer? So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on. This is the Moonstruck Eye Primer. I use it in every single tutorial that I do for eyeshadow because it does a lot of things and it's super important. You don't need a ton, but it's gonna help grip that eyeshadow better, grip that powder. And so that it goes on better and gives the eyeshadow its truer color, its truer form when you put it on your eye. It's also gonna help, like if you have oils or moisturizers or whatever on your eyelids, it's going to help keep all that in a check and just smooth out the base for the eyeshadow to really grab onto. And it's going to help everything blend better as well. Now, these unique pressed shadows are actually infused with primer. And if you go to the product knowledge sheet, which is if you go into your unique site and you click on a product, right under the add to cart button, you'll see the product fact sheet or product knowledge sheet. I think it says product fact sheet. That will have a lot of information, like little tidbits of good things of what are these products? What do they have in it? What do they do? And one of the things it does say is that these pressed shadows are infused with primer. So if you don't have eye primer, it's not the end of the world, but it's something that it's a great upsell, and I swear it makes the eyeshadows look so much better. So get that when you can and use that. But if you don't have it yet, it's okay to still use your eyeshadows because they are primer infused, and they're not going to crease anyways without it, but it does help prevent creasing and helps get that truer color of the product. Now, I'm going to sit here and show you these brushes, and I use pretty much all of them when I'm doing a full-on eyeshadow look. You've got your liner shader brush, you've got your deluxe brush, which is really similar to the shader part of the liner shader brush. You've got the fluffy crease brush, the crease brush, and the blending brush. All right, so I always use the unique eye brushes because they're really easy because they have like the names on them, which makes it easy for the customer, and I always point that out. And basically what you're gonna remember is these two are for the base shadow. So if you're gonna do one shade of eyeshadow for the day, that's it, just one shade on your lid, then you'll wanna use one of these brushes. If you're going to be adding anything into the creases of your eye, which is, we'll talk about what crease is in a second. It's basically to kind of contrast or contour in your eye, then you're going to want to break out the fluffy crease, the crease, and the blending. Fluffy crease is going to be a softer look in the crease, okay? The crease brush is obviously more pointed and compact bristles, so that's going to give you the darker pigment, more concentrated pigment. And then the blending brush is what it is. It's a very fluffy brush. It's going to help blend those pigments seamlessly together and really get that blending that you need, okay? So those are the brushes. And as far as knowing like what shades to recommend to people for their eye color or for their skin tone, that is something that you can literally Google, okay? So don't freak out because you're like, oh, I can't do this for my customers because I don't know like what goes with what. You can literally Google like this girl has brown eyes and a warm skin tone, and you can Google like what eyeshadow colors go best, and you'll pretty much find, in the color world, the color palette world, you'll be able to decide what would be good from the shadows that we have, okay? So just remember, Google is always a resource for that, so don't think you have to go. But the rule of thumb is that if somebody has a warm undertone, then they are going to look good in any of the shadows that have a gold undertone. Because think about warm, yellow, warm, gold makes you feel warm and cozy. I don't know why. Okay, gold, warm, yellow, gold undertones. They're going to be great for warm undertones. Now, cool undertones, people with pink, cool undertones, rosy skin, really, really white, kind of blue, icy, cool undertones. They probably look good in like silver jewelry, and they are going to look good in a silver undertone eyeshadow. So if there's a shimmer or a metallic eyeshadow, they're going to look really good in that. And they're going to, and if you have even like a brown that has, like for example, one of our eyeshadows is called Delicious, and it's actually a brown shadow, but it has a silver shimmer to it. It's a metallic shade with a silvery base shimmer to the brown, and that actually looks good on a cool undertone person. Even though it's brown, you think brown warm, but it's not a gold undertone because it doesn't have any gold in it. It has a silver undertone. And that is from me literally trial and error with tons of customers. So don't think you have to learn that today, but just that's kind of my rule of thumb. But really just put on what works for your skin tone and your eye color. So that's like the first thing for you to Google is, okay, I have green eyes and I have a neutral warm skin tone. By the way, neutral can wear usually either in a lot of colors, like a very much broader spectrum. Now I'm more warm neutral, so I look good in a lot of the warmer colors, the more golds, and then I have the green eyes. So greens, have a lot, green has a lot of yellow in it, and to pull the yellow out of the green to make the green appear brighter, I'm going to use things that bring yellow out. So things like pinks, things like, rose gold, like really pulls that yellow out. Anyway, so we'll go over and you can literally Google all that stuff. Like that's my Google knowledge. I am no makeup artist, never went to any kind of schooling for that. I never even went to art school. Like I'm not an artist, so I'm not going to claim to be in any of those things. And there might be some artists on here that watches and they're like, she's so wrong about colors. Okay. But this is what works for me for eyeshadow. So that's fine. I don't mind if you criticize my color, whatever, palette knowledge. Okay. So let's put on some. So we put on our eye primer. Yay. Now, I talked about mattes, satins. I didn't talk about mattes, but the shadows that we have options for are matte, satin, shimmer, and metallic. Okay, so matte, satin, shimmer, and metallic is what we have options for. When I have a customer that I'm trying to decide what to do, or if I'm going live, I'm gonna decide, okay, I'm gonna use a combo of those. Now, you can use all matte, and you could use all shimmer, and all satin, and all metallic if you want. But what you're gonna get is, especially with all metallic, it's very, very bright because it's gonna be very, very shiny, okay? Same with shimmer, it's gonna be very, very shiny. Now, the mattes and the satins are pretty, they're neutral, they're very easy to wear. So those you can go just solid, just combos of mattes, combos of satins. But when you have the metallic and the shimmers, it's kind of good if you're going to use more than one shadow, is to do kind of a combo of matte or satin mixed with metallics, okay? Matte, satin, mixed with metallic, or mixed with shimmers. All right, so this is a 25 palette that we have, the unique one, by the way. That's like the largest. We also have the 8-pack, and you can go through these in your live. Now we have the custom palette. So the cool thing I always talk about in my lives is when you run out of one shadow, this is the 8-pack custom palette, and when you run out of one shadow, you could get a pen and pop it out and order a refill of that same color or a different color. So you never have those half-empty palettes anymore, which is amazing. So I always say that, and that's why it's worth it, to get like the $99 8-pack. And that's a good way to upsell. Okay, so in a good way, in making a custom palette for them makes them feel like, oh, this is just for me and it only matches my skin tone and my eye color and all that. So that's kind of fun. Anyways, and then you also have the option for the 4-packs and the singles, and it's just like a little single compact. Okay, let's put on shadows. So let's say you just want to do one shade on the lid here, okay? And that's easy. You could start there and just say, hey, this color goes really good with green eyes and warm skin tones like me. And I wanted to show you how I just wear a really simple 1-shade mom eyeshadow. And if you're like me and you have green eyes and warm skin tone, you could pick something easy like this, like a rose gold color. These are one of the new ones, so I don't even know which one it is, but I'll pop it out and show you. Not that one. I think it's conspicuous. No. Visionary. Okay, we'll try Visionary. So let's say, okay, I'm gonna wear, one shade today. I need a really fast, easy eye. So I'm gonna use my shader brush because, not shader, this is Deluxe brush because it's super easy and nice and fluffy and soft, and gonna apply this just right. Now, for my one shade shadow, I wanna keep it just on my lid. You don't wanna bring shadow way up to your brow, or at least colored shadow, because you're gonna start looking like Mimi or somebody from Drew Carey Show, right? So in order to emphasize your eye shape and really bring out your eyes, stick to the shadows being below that brow bone. And so you can feel where the bone is that sits on your brow, okay? So you wanna make sure that your shadow rests always kind of below. The colored shadow needs to be below that brow bone. And that's also how you can find your crease, and you can talk about this on your lives. To find your crease, you want to you can use your finger, or that crease brush is great to use. Find where your eyeball, this is the eyeball, right? There's your eyeball, feel it. Find your eyeball and find where it goes back behind that brow bone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your crease, okay? Everybody's is different shapes, wherever. It's always the same though, that it's where your eyeball goes back behind that brow bone. Okay, that's the crease, and everybody's is different. So you can't be like, well, your crease is there because my crease is there. No, they have to feel for it. So literally have them take their finger and find that crease. Okay, so for a one shade eyeshadow, what I recommend is that they don't go above their crease for a one shade. So you can say, okay, also when you put your shadow, I always do eyeshadow first before I do face makeup, because if you make a big mess with your eyeshadow, then you're not having to redo your face makeup or clean up your face makeup. You can always just put your makeup over the mess or remove it and then start your face makeup. Also, when you dip your brush into the shadow, always tap off excess, because that way you're not getting a bunch of shadow everywhere, especially if you do already have your foundation on. So tapping is a really cool thing. You'll look like you know what you're doing, okay? And then I always start the pigment closest to the eye for the base color, closest to the lash line. And other tip is, do not push hard with these brushes. That skin on your lid is super delicate, okay? And so is the skin underneath your eye. That's really thin, delicate skin. So these brushes, they're soft for a reason. Don't push. The pigments are so pigmented, you don't need to push. And the softer you are, the more blended and prettier it'll look anyways. So I'm just softly I started at the lash line. I'm going from outer corner to the inner corner of my eye, and then working that pigment up till the crease, okay? And this is gonna be my one shade shadow. Super easy, and you can build on it, add a little more if you need to. Bring it up to the crease, and you see how the brush is kind of going up towards the crease? I'm using the brush to kind of stop me where that crease is, trying to stop me at the end of my eyeball there. And using like a light shade like this, even though it's shimmery, it's an easy one shade, because it's still gonna kind of make my eye stand out a little more, because it's got a little shimmer, it's pretty, it's the color, the yellow gold color, and it's gonna bring out the yellow in my green eye, so make my green eyes stand out. And voila, put some mascara on, and I did gorgeous makeup, right? That's one shade shadow. I do this a lot like that. I wear one shade actually more often than you think. It's easy to teach to people. You don't need to be doing crazy glam eyeshadow all the time. It's more about just making your eye stand out and look better. Your beautiful eye, as it is. This video is getting really long. I'm sorry about that, but I think this is all really good knowledge, and I hope you agree. Now, on the other eye, I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing. So we'll do the same exact thing, and then we'll start working with our crease color and how to really contrast and contour the eye so that it brings out the eye shape and makes the eyes look even more bolder and pretty. So again, I'm applying that same base shade, inner corner to outer corner, lash line to crease. Okay, and the edges here on the outside, don't worry about how much crazy you get over there. That's another reason why I do face makeup after I do eyeshadow is good. Then you can like angle it out with your face makeup, however you want to do it. Now that I have both Visionary on my lid, this side we're gonna just try something with it. So when you're gonna add something in the crease, grab your 3 crease brushes, and I like to start with the fluffy crease brush first. Now remember, there are no rules to makeup. Say that for me. No rules to makeup. Okay, so you're not right or wrong whether you use your crease brush first or your fluffy crease brush first or your blending brush first. Like, you're not, and you're literally just teaching your audience what you like in your opinion. So don't think that you're going to be teaching them something wrong, okay? But the reason why I like to do the fluffy crease brush first is it gives me a soft blend in the crease, and then I can build with a darker pigment on the very outer corner, and it just kind of will all kind of blend together because I've got my base color, then my lighter, softer crease color, and then it works up to this darker pigment in the outer corner. So it just kind of makes the eye look really pretty. That's just my opinion. That's how I do it. Now, when I do a crease color, I always do kind of a contrasting color to the base shadow that we use, the first shadow. Contrasting color can mean a lot of things. It can be a satin or a matte over this metallic shade. It can be a darker color. It can be, in the same family, like literally just one shade darker. It doesn't have to be black, or like dark brown. So just remember that. You don't have to have dark colors for the crease, but just like one shade darker is sometimes really pretty. So I'm going to go to a matte finish color, and I'm going to use a brown because I like warm colors. I just told you that, right? So this one I believe is Gullible that I'm going to use. Y'all can't see that. The Gullible matte finish lighter brown. Now I wouldn't go with like a rose gold and then put a bright blue in the crease. I mean, I guess I could, but it might look a little crazy. Okay, so I like to kind of do a natural color to like scheme. If I'm gonna wear blue, that's amazing, but I may mix it with like black or gray or something more cool. Like blue is a cool color to me, not a warm color. Okay, so fluffy crease brush. I put some gold ball on my brush. I tapped it off. I'm gonna start in that outer corner, finding that crease. I want most of my pigment in that outer corner because in order to emphasize the shape of your eye, you really want to leave the pigment out on the edge because the shape is going to start there. And then you'll work very lightly. Don't press hard. You don't need to. You'll work that pigment in a circular motion along that crease. Use your eye and the brush to follow that natural crease line, okay? You literally use that bone as kind of your guide and the eyeball. Super softly blending it out. Okay? Now, looks really pretty, right? And you could sit here and blend it all day long. I'm telling you, it's all in the blending. So just be lighter handed, have less pigment on the brush, and keep on blending it until it looks gorgeous. Okay, next thing. Let's say I want to emphasize, you could stop there and go with that. Beautiful. Let's say I want a little bit more drama to the eye. So I'm going to grab my crease brush. This time it's a little more concentrated bristles. I'm actually going to use the same color. I am going to use that same Gullible color. Now I could go a shade darker to like Marvelous, but let's say I don't. That's an option. Whatever you want to do, no rules. I'm just going to show you the difference in the brushes too. So putting it on this crease brush versus that fluffy one is you're going to get a more concentrated pigment. Same thing, I'm going to find that crease, find that outer corner, and I'm going to focus on a V. Okay, I'm going to be applying this going up about a quarter way towards the eye, and then I'm also going to be coming towards the lash line and making that outer V shape. But focusing that pigment really on the outer corner because that's what's going to help draw my eye out, make it look bolder and bigger and more beautiful. And some eye shapes, if you have like really hooded eyes, some of them have a lot of trouble with this, and some people have like eyes that are angled down, and for them, they can have some trouble with that outer corner crease look. And they do really good with like one shade shadows, like I just did, you know, the one shade. They look really pretty with that, and that may be something for them to start with. And then to play with how maybe you can get them to add a really subtle crease color and work with it. Okay, anyway, so you got your V shape, and you can keep adding. One thing I love to do is I always tell them to go use the blending brush without any pigment on it, any product, and just kind of softly blend it all. And then I go do a second coat, because the second coat's gonna make the pigments blend even better together and look more seamless and brighter, obviously. So I'm gonna go back to that brush, the Deluxe that I started with, back to my Visionary color, tap off, do it right there along the lash line. I'm not gonna go really over where I put my outer corner color though. I'm just gonna kind of put this wherever it's still showing up the most. Then I'm gonna go back to my fluffy crease brush, grab Gullible, dust it off. Same thing, find that outer corner, follow that brow bone, and I'm bringing it about 3/4 of the way into the eye there, you see? And now it's giving me a bolder look. The colors are getting bolder. Then grab my crease brush, Gullible again, tap off excess, find that outer corner and that crease, and put it right there in the V shape that we just talked about. Up about 1/4 in, down towards the lash, stopping right at where the lashes kind of start there. Blend. Blending brush, no product. Especially right up here where you don't have any pigment yet, at that brow bone, I'm using this super soft brush to blend that line out. And it's kind of hard to see like that it's doing anything, but I promise you it is. And teach your following to do the blending. It's super key. Now, sometimes if you want to get really bright pigment, a cool tool to use is your finger. I'm putting it in that same Visionary color. Look how much pigment I get on my finger. And just have them pat right there in the center of their eyeball, right there. And it'll bring out that color even more. You could use another color like a brighter gold or something right there in the middle. Or a really like metallic or another shimmer shade. And then kind of close your eyes and see, okay, where do I need to work? You know, what am I missing here? I've got a hole right there, all right? So I'm gonna blend that with some color, the fluffy crease brush a little bit. I'm gonna grab my crease brush, not crease brush, my blending brush, blend it a little bit. You don't necessarily need to add more color, but you need to keep blending it. Then on the brow bone, this is the last tip I have for you. Oh, actually 2 more tips. On the brow bone, use like your pressed powder, your normal like color or something, or use like Laid Back. I know it's sold out right now, but it's a great one because it's not shimmery and it's skin color. Now, if you have darker skin tone than me, you could use another color, like Transcendent is another one that's more like for olive skin tones. Whatever would go good, like kind of be the same skin tone color as your skin tone color for your brow bone, and that will just help make that not oily or anything. So if you have issues with your lashes being so long, if they touch up top, it won't rub off. Also, it's a good way to help blend that pigment there up towards the top. So like you don't want to bring the pigment up, but it's going to get rid of any harsh line if you do add a shadow color there. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll use shader brush for that and use Laid Back. Tap off excess. And I'm going to go right below the brow bone. I have not done my brows yet. Right below that brow bone, applying that skin color shade, and it'll just give a powdery finish there and kind of blend everybody together, and it'll kind of define that brow as well. And then I might bring a little bit on the inner corner to cover up any veins or skin that you can see. Another tip, the other side of the shader brush is great, and use it. Use whatever color you did on your base. If you do a full color like this, like a full eyeshadow look, flip the brush around, use your base color. Ours was Visionary. And it's a really pretty thing to do, especially for hooded eyes, to bring out the eye color even more. Apply this right underneath that bottom lash line. And this brush is like perfect for that because it will really get up under those lashes. And this is great for a metallic shade, a really light, pretty shade, or like a metallic or shimmer. And then once you put eyeliner and mascara with it, it'll look gorgeous and stunning. Okay, that's all. I think that's all I have for you today. I'm sorry this is so long, but I really hope it was informative. Let me know in the comments if you have questions, or if you're watching this video on YouTube, also comment on the YouTube video and hopefully we can get them answered. All right, yay for eyeshadows. We'll see you later. Bye guys.